Alright, fellas. So, we'll see how this works. This is being taken on the computer. I'm uploading the other video I just sent. It's okay. Like, everything is okay. The Wi Fi keeps, popping in and out, fucking, all of it. So, that's why I got the phone in my hand. I mean, I hate being sort of addicted to the phone, but it's business. I am. But it's a short video, and I've been saying as of late that I've been saying for the past 10 years actually that war is imminent. War is imminent. People just call me an idiot. People just say, "Oh, none of that shit's gonna happen." We live in a civilized society. This and that. Really, human beings, man, have always been violent by default. Human beings have always been the same. I know, these days it seems a lot more extreme because of social media and stuff. But the real reason I did this video, Charlie Kirk. Most of you guys, I mean, he was pretty big. He was one of these. I don't know if he was an influencer or I don't know what. I mean, yeah, I guess you could call him that. But most people didn't even, I mean, he wasn't that big of a name, in the manosphere or whatever. What happened yesterday? He got shot in the neck. Some fucking liberal. It's the left that are really a bunch of fucking murderers and liberals and a certain nationality and all that. And he didn't even say anything remotely that controversial. He was simply, a nationalist, a Trump supporter. I truly believe Trump would have been shot too. I mean, there was probably a compromise behind the scenes, you know. It's horrible. I said in the last video, I like to sit down, and I'm looking at this because I'm about 57% on there. Uh, I said, that I like to sit down and talk to people. I don't, everybody's like, he likes to fight, he likes to, yeah, I like to, but I don't like to fight randomly with people unless there's a very good reason. I avoid people, I avoid fights. But, how do you talk to people when, and this is the left mostly. It has to be their way or the highway. And the left means a bunch of feminists, a bunch of cucks, all these things are great when, if it's a, you know, utopian society, but we don't live in a utopian society. This ain't utopia, men are men, women are women, men lead, women serve, I mean, when you deny, like, okay, so you want to sit down and talk to the other person, you want to explain your point of view, but the first thing you have to understand is that these people don't want to listen uh, to any form of logic. They say your logic is useful. Then you ask them the question why they get triggered. I mean, it's pointless talking to people, is what both people on the left and the right say. And I'm not. This isn't political. This is people in general. But to simply say that I don't like Trump, so I'm gonna shoot him. I don't like stuff like that. It's horrible. It's absolutely, I mean, it is uncivilized. People call me, because I walk around with my shirt off uncivilized, but I don't call for murder. I've spoken about even something as basic as an anti-phobia video. I got death threats in writing at that too from a guy that, used to work for me as an affiliate. Now he later took that back. He never had any intention of actually doing anything about it. So, but the very fact that people actually felt compelled to say that, and he wasn't the only one. There was another guy who's disappeared now. Uh, then you have people like Bozo Schofield that'll create Facebook pages about you and say you're a pedophile, and it's horrible. He took other people's kids, and he said, and then their parents contacted me, and then I had to explain the whole situation. Horrible. Just because you dare to question society doesn't mean you should get shot, right? The political narrative or whatever it is. I mean, and at a certain point, you can't sit down and talk to people. So it's either you become a slave to them or they become a slave to you. I mean, and that's always been how it is throughout history, and especially in America's leading the world in everything. So this is why I keep promoting the systems that Russia and China use. 82%. I don't know. Will it? 80. Okay. Russia and China use because when you have a dictator, when you have a strong man, not a woman, a strong woman doesn't exist. I mean, that leads to chaos and catastrophe, and it never has throughout history. I mean, maybe some, but they had a man, doing a lot of stuff for them. But yeah, Margaret Thatcher, Iron Lady, but she was an exception. But my point is this: that you have one person in charge of everything. You may not like everything he says, but you got to do it, and then you all work towards the common goal, which is their countries. And so, there's not going to be any civil war in Russia. There's not going to be any war in China. It's countries like, America, the West. These countries are gone. They're headed towards complete chaos, unless something changes. But I don't see how Trump can change any of this, really, to be honest. I mean, you gotta sit down and talk to people, but the only way you can do that, people say they want to talk, but then they ignore every objective fact placed in front of them because it doesn't suit their narrative. I mean, for me, like I mean, every time I talk to somebody, they'll point out all the negatives, they'll point out, or the so called negatives, and, where I failed in the past, where I didn't do this, didn't do that, which is all great. I own it, I admit it. Yeah, okay, I made mistakes, live and learn. You know, but when you point out these people, their mistakes, they throw a fucking hissy fit. It's like you can't even. So, where do we go from here? The last thing I want to say, I see people on social media celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. He got shot in the neck. People are sharing that video of him as if it's something, to brag about, as if it's something to get social media likes for. I mean, literally, man, if you gotta do that, then you're a fucking retard, and you're actually the psychopath. I'm not the psychopath. You're the psychopath. If you're celebrating somebody, I don't even use the word death. And if you're celebrating somebody dying simply because he spoke at a pro-Trump rally, then you're just a horrible person. And I mean, this guy, he didn't sleep with many girls. He didn't, I mean, he promoted masculinity, yeah, but, he wasn't like me that, flirting with every girl. He had a traditional Christian wife, two kids, beautiful kids, and it's horrible. You see that picture on social media, and then now you have everybody. Elon is, donating $1 million to build a memorial, which is great, by the way. But he's just one example. They are coming after up. People call me paranoid when I say I, constantly carry a knife, I have a gun, I have all these things, but there's reason. When I show them the death threats that have been made against me, they don't listen. It's how do you talk to people like that? It, and so, as has happened throughout human history, that wheel, Father Time, is coming full circle. It's going to be interesting to see how America goes now because things have reached a boiling point and we are not even a year into the Trump presidency, and that's that. But really, if you're celebrating Kirk's death, I mean, or anybody really, if you're sending death threats and all that, you're a faggot, man. You're a fucking idiot. Later.